Good morning. It's Monday, November 24th, and Professor determined Ramser. So let me do a screen share on this English C1000 course, and got a couple of things happening on the screen. Let me see if I can move out of that. Um, guess I can move it over there. There you go. Okay. So we're on the home page on the Canvas shell. Let's see what we have going on. I think it's just revising and editing. With that in mind, I added a page with some links for revising and editing. So we are now in week 15. So here we're on week 15 screen. So let me just reshare that just in case when I was toggling back and forth, it did not go over. So we're on week 15. So we have the notes and the revised outline. A student asked about the notes, what the notes are, and the notes are your visible thoughts as you're drafting and revising the essay, and they're also your visible notes as you're revising and editing the outline. So the outline is the skeleton of the essay. Imagine it's like a roadmap. You plan a trip to a place that's hundreds or thousands of miles away, and you have your itinerary and you have things sort of scheduled. But as you're driving there, for example, you may want to stop off and spend another day at a place because of the view and because it's more important for your agenda for your vacation, or maybe you want to spend more time at a different location that wasn't initially on your itinerary, but you think it's important for what your goal is. So your outline is that map. And the outline needs to be revised because as you start drafting your essay, you're going to discover something that you hadn't thought about or that wasn't apparent to you before you started drafting. It could have been a nuanced connection between two characters. It could have been a more in-depth analysis of some theory at play and how the characters or the storyline or the author or demonstrating their ideas. So these little nuances, these changes occur as you're drafting your essay, and so your outline and the essay itself changes, which also means that your thesis statement will change because your main argument that you set out to accomplish has been changed because the environment has changed. So your thesis statement will be revised, your outline will be revised, and your rough draft will be revised. Because as you go through and revise and edit each paragraph, each sentence, something's going to happen that's going to change something. Now, it could be dramatic for some writers, or it could be minor tweaks. Maybe your topic in paragraph 3 is a little fine-tuned in the revised version. Maybe your topic in paragraph 4 is removed and replaced with something that is more in the linear development of your logic, your argument you're making. So I can't say that everyone's revision is going to look the same. Everyone's revised outline will look the same. Everyone's revised thesis statement will go through the same changes, but it will happen as you start revisiting the main idea as it evolves. And granted, that because this essay is only 1,500 words long, you're going to be limited as to how many changes you can make and how dramatic the changes can make. That said, if you decide you want to completely scrap the whole idea that you started with and write something new and different, you could. It's very challenging, but you're in week 15. You have a few more weeks, so it's possible if that were to happen. Um, let's see. Well, so we have that. We'll have weekly check-in. So this page called Steps for Revising Your Paper, we'll take a look at it in just a second. I do want to reiterate that if you copy someone else's work, is considered plagiarism. It's an automatic F, and possible disciplinary action by the student council or the student body president or whoever's involved in issuing that kind of response to plagiarism. If you use AI, that is the same thing as having someone else write your essay. That too is considered plagiarism. I understand the temptation to use it, and it's very helpful when you're researching. It's very helpful when you're writing a letter to, your employer, or if you're a manager writing a letter to your employees. But in academic writing, AI is not your writing. It's someone else's writing. It's an algorithm. It's computer. So you're copying someone else's writing, which is plagiarism. So keep it to a minimum. I could see maybe 10, 15% of your essay being AI revised. But if AI is writing your essay, then AI deserves the credit, not you, which means you'll get an F on the paper, and we'll see how far that goes. There have been a few students already that have experienced this situation with AI. So hopefully on your last essay, it won't be that way, because it could dramatically affect whether you pass the course or not. So with that said, let's take a look at this revising your paper and see if these links will be helpful. One is called Steps to Revising Your Paper. The other one's called Drafting and Revising. Another one's called Editing, and another one's called Sentence Clarity. Let's take a look at the first one, Steps for Revising Your Paper. It goes to the Purdue web page. Purdue is also the university that has created OWL, which is that online writing tool for MLA, APA, Chicago, so forth. So this web page goes through the steps for revising your paper. Think about the rhetorical context of your proposal. You have your audience, you have your purpose, you have your context, you have your own personal stance, you have the design, and you have so those are some things to think about. Audience, purpose, context, stance, media, and design is in that rhetorical proposal. In that proposal, that's your rhetorical context. So here we have on the page your main point, your readers, your purpose, your evidence, um, what's good, what's usable in your thesis statement, how to clean up the language. Reading aloud is one of the better ways to catch some of these errors in grammar and usage. And remember that switching from the writer-centered to the reader-centered. So your reader wants to learn something and not hear your opinion. So if you have an opinion, you need to support that argument, that claim with citable evidence that's been well integrated. If you simply dump a quote, whether it's a block or a floating quote into your paper, one, it doesn't add to your grade, and two, it doesn't add any insight into the topic. So your reader is left wondering, why am I given this gift when I have no card to it? I don't know what to do with it. I don't know how I should interpret this quote, this block quote, this floating quote without a well integrated, using usually an active verb signal phrase and some sort of context. So keep that in mind. So this is the first link on that steps for revising your paper. I'll go here. Let me reshare it just in case for some reason it didn't toggle through when I shifted menus. So here it is on the screen. Steps for revising your paper. Let's go back to this page on Canvas. The second hyperlink is the drafting and revising. I think this is a YouTube video, which I think will be helpful. Okay, that was pretty good. Let's go back here, stop share, come back to the menu, come back to the Canvas. Week 15. Okay, so we have the drafting and revising video we just saw. Here's a link on editing. It is also by Purdue. So I won't share that. Here's another one on sentence clarity. Great. So that's the one on sentence clarity. Let me reshare this screen just to make sure that we're watching the same thing. I strongly encourage you to watch those videos for sentence clarity and also on editing. It's a new process, and usually in high school, most essays are written the night before they do, with a couple of exceptions. So this is probably a new process for you. You're not used to revising and editing your essay, but in college, that's sort of a requirement. And depends on how well you schedule your time, but hopefully you'll be getting 5 to 7 drafts of your essay before you turn in the final draft. I know that probably hasn't happened for most of you, but you're given a little bit more time in the last few weeks of this semester course, so you hopefully will have time to revise your essay several times. Maybe not the whole thing, maybe only a few paragraphs. Certainly the opening paragraph. You remember your introduction has a hook, has background context information that the reader needs to know. This is where your rhetorical précis come in handy. And then that sets up the introduction so that when you come in with your thesis, that arguable thing you're going to be making about this problem, about this perception, about this issue, it's understandable. Remember, your thesis is 3 parts. One is a problem, second is reaction by credible sources, and the third is what you're going to argue in your paper. So in this case, for essay 6, you're looking at 1984, the novel, and a few essays or more from the Norton Reader. So you could look at how George Orwell portrays identity in a dystopian environment, where identity is sort of fragmented and memory and history are marginalized or broken up or pushed aside. And that perhaps your argument is that Orwell's construction of this problem is key to the other papers as well, that in the 21st century, our identity is fragmented, not only because of memory and our own personal history, but because of other forces at play. It could be because of in case we're like this, we're using a computer, a laptop, a cell phone to communicate. This is certainly controlled and structured by technology that's beyond my speaking to you and you listening to me. So maybe that's at play. As you start revising your argument again and again and again, fine tuning it, not only for what you want to argue, but also for the size of the assignment. In this case, it's only 1,500 words. So you can't argue about everything, and you can't argue about the big things because you don't have enough time, enough words. It's what, 7 pages, 8 pages, 9 pages long. So you don't have enough space to really delve into each topic, and create a sustainable argument with sustainable subtopics. So fine tune your argument to something that you can argue about, that you can write about, given the limitations of this paper. And given that this is a college paper, think about what kind of language we'll use. Think certainly about the Emily formatting, which is Times New Roman, double spaced, Times New Roman font style size is 12 point. What else? You have a hanging indent for the works cited page. You have paragraphs indented. You have a running header. You have your name, professor name, course name, and date in the upper left-hand corner of the first page. You have an original title. The title is reflective of what you're writing about, not simply essay 6. So all these things will come into play when you start revising your paper. With that said, I'll leave you to keep working on your essay. Again, if you have any questions, reach out to me. I'll respond within a few hours. if not by the next day. And with that, thank you so much. Have a good night. Have a good day.